Hello and welcome to this continuing first look exploring session looking at Look About You, a fun, almost Robin Hood play. Robert Hood is how he's currently referred to, and all sorts of hints of things where to come. But at the moment we're sort of busy in history land with the various brothers, sons of Henry II, all sort of fighting away and doing generally obnoxious in interesting ways, and all sorts of other complicated disguising and business going on, which may or may not get more confusing. It may get more confusing. It's going to get more confusing. It'll be fine. But to continue our journey through this, we're effectively at what we might call Scene 5. Our scripts call it Scene 11 for reasons best known to history. Reading Young King Skink and Pursuivant today is...
Alan, based in Suffolk.
Reading Gloucester and Falconbridge is...
Lois, based in London.
Reading the Porter, Leicester, Block and Sheriff is...
Hello, I'm Lynn. I'm coming to you from the northwestern United States.
Reading Queen, Lady Falconbridge, Drawer and A Voice from Within is...
Hi, my name's Elizabeth Amisu and I'm an author based in Romford.
Reading John and Robert is...
Briony, Sparrow, actor in Lincolnshire.
Reading Redcap, Old King, and possibly occasionally reading Richard is...
Rachael, actor on the East Coast, eating red gummy bears.
And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I'll be reading stage directions. I will occasionally leap in to be Lancaster. I may also leap in to be Richard, but I'm not 100% certain at this time. So we left off with various little plot lines sort of simmering away, various people semi in disguise, certain people locked up, some people not locked up. It's all very confusing. I'm not even going to try and explain it. We're just going to dive into Scene 5 or Scene 11. Enter Gloucester in his gown, calling.
Porter! What? Porter? Where's this drowsy ass?
Enter the porter.
Who calls? My Lord of Gloucester, all alone?
Alone, and have your wisdom's company? Pray, where's the stammering chatterer, your son? He's ever running, but he makes small haste. I'll bring his lither legs in better frame, and if he serve me thus another time... Hark, sir, your client's knock, and be your pie, let him vouchsafe to chatter us some news. Tell him we dance attendance in our chamber.
Exit the porter.
This John and Henry are so full of hate that they will have my head by some device. Gloucester hath plotted means for an escape, and if it fadge, well, so. If not, then, well, the way to heaven is death, this life's a hell.
And enter the porter and Skink.
Why should the watchman come along thee?
There's such a good question for you, such same rogue Skink. Placate me far enough from him that an honest fella cannot walk the streets.
Well, sir, dispatch your business with the Earl. He's angry at your stay, I tell you that.
Exit the porter.
Frown this Gloucester casts at me. I hope he means to lend me no more cuffs, such as he paid me at the Parliament.
What mutter you? What tidings from my sister?
Commendations, and she has sent you this ring.
There's two angels. Shut the chamber door. You must about some business for me straight. Come nearer, man.
I fear I'm too near.
Hast thou no tidings for my liberty?
No, but I'll hear from her presently.
And presently, sir, off with your coat. Nay, quick, uncase. I am bold to borrow it. I'll leave my gown. Change is no robbery. Stutterer, it's so. Never flinch. You cannot pass. Cry, and by heaven, I'll cut thy coward's throat. Quickly, cashier yourself. You see me stay.
Nay, but what mean ye?
To escape, I hope, sir, with your privilege.
And he takes his coat off.
How now? Who's this? My fine familiar Skink, Queen Beldam's minion.
Zounds, ye see, 'tis I.
Time sorts not now to know these mysteries. How thou camest by this ring, or stolest this coat, they're mine now in possession, for which kindness, if I escape, I'll get thee liberty, or fire the fleet about the warden's ears. Mum Budget, not a word, as thou lovest thy life.
Aye, mum fair, pray God may chance it, my lord, but my case is desperate. I'd see your eyes out ere I will be cheated.
Walk like an earl, villain. Some are coming.
And indeed, enter Prince John and the porter.
Where is this Gloucester?
Yonder he walks. Father, let me out.
Why?
Let me
Whither
out.
must you now?
To Jericho, I think. It's such a humorous earl.
Well, sir, will it please you hasten home again?
I'll be here in a trice, but pray have a care of this madcap. If he give us these slips, some of us like to make a slippery occupation on't.
This while, John walks and stalks by Skink in his disguise, never a word between them.
Look to your business, sir. Let me alone.
Exit the porter.
Hello. Never trust me if I trouble thee.
Mad Gloucester mute. All mirth turned to despair. Why, now you see what 'tis to cross a king. Deal against princes of the royal blood, you'll snarl and rail, but now your tongue is bedrid. Come, Caperhay, set all at 6 and 7. What musest thou, with thought of hell or heaven?
Of neither, John. I muse at my disgrace, that I am thus kept prisoner in this place.
Oh, sir, 'tis a number are here prisoners. My cousin Morton, whom I came to visit, but he, good man, is at his morrow mass. But I, that neither care to say nor sing, come to seek that preaching hate and prayer, and while they mumble up their orisons, we'll play a game at bowls. What sayest thou, Gloucester?
I care not if I do.
You do not care? Let old men care for graves, we for our sports. Off with your gown. There lies my hat and cloak. The bowls there, quickly, ho.
No, my gown stirs not. It keeps sorrow warm, and she and I are not to be divorced.
Enter porter with bowls.
Yes, there's an axe must part your head and you. And with that, and with your head, sorrow will leave your heart. But come, shall I begin? A pound a game?
£4? We thus heavy? Well, begin.
Rub, 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 rub.
Amen. God send it short enough, and me a safe running with these clothes from thee.
Play, Robin. Run, run, run.
Far enough and well. Fly 1 foot more, would I half so far without the door.
Now, porter, what's the news?
Your cousin Morton humbly craves, leaving your game, you would come visit him.
Bowl, Gloucester. I'll come presently. So near, mad Robin. Then have after you.
And exit the porter.
I've a con. Make after as you may.
Well, sir, 'tis yours, all one. Throw but the jack, while I go talk with Morton. I'll not stay. Keep coat and hat in pawn. I'll hold out play.
And exit John.
I would be sorry, John, but you should stay until my bias run another way. Now pass and hey pass, skink unto your tricks. 'Tis but a chance at hazard. There lies Gloucester, and here stands Skink. Now, John, play thou thy part, and if I escape, I'll love thee with my heart.
And Skink now, as we go into further disguising, Skink now puts on Prince John's cloak and sword and hat.
So, porter, let me forth.
And enter the porter.
God bless your grace. Spoke you with Lord Morton?
I have, and I must about his business to the court. It grieves me to break my sport with Gloucester. The melancholy Earl is comfortless.
I would your grace would comfort him from hence. The fleet is weary of his company.
And outside, Redcap knocks.
Drink that, some knocks. I prithee, let me out. His head shall off ere long, ne'er make doubt.
Exit Skink and Gloucester. Enter John at the other door.
Now, madcap, thou winnest all. Where art thou, Robin? Uncased? Nay, then he means to play in earnest. But where's my cloak, my rapier, and my hat? I hold my birthright to a beggar's script. The bastard is escaped in my clothes. 'Tis well he left me his to walk the streets. I'll fire the city, but I'll find him out. Perchance he hides himself to try my spleen. I'll to his chamber. Gloucester? Hello? Gloucester?
Exit John. Enter Redcap.
I wonder how thou canst so strangely changed. 'Tis not an hour since thou wentst from hence.
By my Christendom, I have not been here this 3 nights. A plague of him that made me such a chanting and sent me such a jaunt. Blood, I was stayed for Skink, that ill fact rogue.
I pray God there be no practice in this change. Now I remember these are Skink's clothes that he wore last day at the Parliament.
And knock. Enter at another door John in Gloucester's gown.
Porter! You, Porter!
Do you not hear them knock? You must stay, sir.
And possibly the porter exits, not sure.
Blood, I could eat these rogues.
What raw is very harsh morsel next to your heart.
A plague upon your jaunts. What, porter, slave?
I have been at Gravesend, sir,
What's that to me?
and at Canterbury.
And at the gallows. Zoons, this frets my soul.
But I find your sister, the Lady Falconbridge.
You stammering slave, hence! Chat among your doors. Come ye to mad me, while the rogue your father...
Enter porter.
Father?
Porter, you damned slave!
Is it midsummer? Do you begin to rave?
Hark how the traitor flouts me to my teeth. I would entreat your knaveship let me forth, for fear I dash your brains out with the keys. What is become of Gloucester and my garments?
Alas, in your apparel, Gloucester's gone. I let him out, even now. I am undone.
It was your practice, and to keep me back you sent Jackdaw, your son, with to tell a sleeveless tale? Lay hold on him, to Newgate with him, and your tut-a-tut, run, Redcap, and trudge about, or bid your father's portership farewell.
Exeunt John with porter, leaving us with Redcap.
Here's a good gist by the Lord to mock and ape withal. My father has brought his hogs to a fair market. Porter, quoth you, porter that will for me, and I porter it. let them boost me to heaven in this quarter. But I must seek this Gloucester and Skink that corny catching rascal, a plague, confound him. Redcap must run. He cannot tell whither.
And exit Redcap and end scene. So, yeah, it's a very clever scene of people passing their disguises onto each other, and I'm sure for everyone in the room who'd sort of forgotten who everyone was trying to pretend to be, that was a bit confusing. But actually, I think in practice, it works very, very nicely. Yeah, so Gloucester gets to change clothes with Skink, who's dressed up as the messenger Redcap. He figured out he's not Redcap because he undresses. Then John comes in when Gloucester escapes, and John then says, "Skink, take your clothes off. We're gonna play bowls." And he's going, "No, I've got a disguise. I can't take my clothes off. No, because you can't see me if I'm wearing a hat." And the Skink presumably has to do an awful lot of pretending to be terribly noble. So one of the performances points here is that Gloucester needs a very specific kind of performance. John needs a very specific kind of performance that can therefore be imitated by Skink there. And that sort of go around. I'm slightly disappointed that John didn't just get locked up forever. Because he's got Gloucester's clothes, so he must be Gloucester, and nobody else should be able to recognise who he is. They played that game a little bit with Redcap coming in, going, "Oh, I couldn't find to deliver your message that from 2 scenes previously." And then, as ever, we hit that slight problem of what do we do with Redcap there. But I do like the random playing of a game of bowls. That's just obviously what you do in the tower, isn't it? Good. I mean, presumably they've got a good indoor grounds there. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they just roll the mats out. I don't know what they do. Thoughts in the room, Briony?
Yeah, this has got it's actually got into it a bit. It's got such a Blackadder, silly feel to it, all of this, and I'm loving it. I just completely ripped off that John performance from Stephen Fry because he's done it in Blackadder and it was spot on. But yeah, just how much fun would this be to do on stage?
Yeah, constant changing. It's your turn now. Pass the parcel of the costume. Round again, and yeah, I'm assuming that when he's calling things like rub and run, he's sort of coaxing his bowl to enact its bias, or something like that.
Yeah, rub. I mean, there are references to rubs in connection with bowls. I'm not absolutely sure what it means, but it is a sporting term anyway. Yeah.
Certainly the run suggests that's length. You run the distance or something like that. Keep going, or that kind of thing. Yeah. Lynn, then Alan.
My understanding was that a rub is a hill or some kind of irregularity in the terrain that prevents you from just rolling your ball in a straight shot to knock the pins over. How that would apply to an indoor version of the game, I have no idea. I've never come across bowls as an indoor game. I've always understood it to be played like on a grass, on a green. So I don't know what's going on here.
Well, it might be in the recreational, maybe
there's
in the prison yard rather than in the apartments.
Yeah. There you go.
Alan.
Yeah, I mean, this would be lawn bowls rather than pin bowls. So you throw a small white ball, which is the jack, and the aim is to get as near the mark as possible. Similar to that strange thing they do in the Winter Olympics with curling, without the sweepers. But you've got the expression of the rub of the green, which is still proverbial, of basically dealing with the circumstances.
Yeah, I do like the way that John sort of does, throw but the jack, while, set up the next match, the next game while I nip out is, it's like if you're playing pool, just re-rack for while I go to the bar.
I mean, again, I don't think any of them are going to get prizes for intelligence.
Well, no, I mean, I don't think that's what the scene's for. I mean, it's basically there as an excuse for the Skink to feel really awkward that he doesn't want to play because he's supposed to take his robes off, and it's an excuse for John to take his robes off, so that he can nick his clothes. So yeah. Other thoughts, Lois?
Yeah, and one thing that's potentially confusing is simply that Robin is, of course, a nickname for Robert, and this is Robert, Earl of Gloucester, who's sometimes called Robin, just as Robert Hood is sometimes called Robin. The other thing is I just love that line, walk like an earl.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's yes. For goodness sake, put some effort in. I don't stand like that. And it's very similar to the sort of central gag in Thomas Cromwell when Hodge is pretending to be I think it's Bedford, and he has to sort of put on airs and do that sort of comic display. So there's something really, really nice about that. Rachael.
So I understand why Redcap is stuttering because he has a stutter, but why was Gloucester stuttering?
So when a Skink comes in, he's pretending to be Redcap, and then Gloucester swaps clothes with Skink, so he now has to pretend to be Redcap. So that's his disguise. Gloucester escapes disguised as Redcap. I mean, that's the thing, is it makes a lot more sense if we just immediately followed on from where we were yesterday or last session. Other thoughts? Otherwise, we'll crack on with the next scene. Elizabeth.
Yeah, I was just thinking about how dynamic the play is in the scenes that we've done today. I think it started off. It reminded me of the Council of Elrond in the Lord of the Rings. It's kind of like a lot was happening, but no one was moving. But now a lot's happening, and everybody seems to be moving around, changing clothes. It's hard to keep up. It could be hard to keep up with, but it's quite dynamic. It's quite engaging. I thought that was quite endearing, actually, about the play. And I love the fact that Redcap has his speech impediment, but he's always running everywhere. So his speech is kind of slow, but as a character, he's very dynamic. He's always running. I like the contrast.
Lois.
Yeah, just another thing, which is that Skink, disguised as Redcap, has a conversation, stammering, with his own father, who apparently doesn't realize that it isn't his son.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing what that little stammer disguise can do.
Yes, and his aside, I fear I am too near. So when Gloucester says, "Come nearer, man," no, keep distance, keep a distance. No, can't see who I am. It's quite playful with the whole disguise concept, which I like. Rachael, are you waving in or just gestures?
Yeah, I mean, like the whole stammering element, the way that these people are treating him, there is some that he has a more prominent stutter after talking to Prince John, I think is realistic, because that's somebody who's made him nervous, like even if it's not a flattering portrayal of somebody, this role, that because it's so psychological that somebody's been yelling at him. This is does lean into that the stutter that people have, that it comes on the more people are unaccepting of that speech pattern, the more prominent it winds up coming out.
Right, let us go on to scene 6, or our running scene 14, and we get to have some trumpets. Enter Henry the Younger. So we've got a young king who's been given a crown. But the old king's not dead yet, so that's a system that definitely doesn't go horribly wrong, or is that's basically the central thesis of the play. So enter Henry the Younger. On the one hand of him, Queen Eleanor. On the other, Leicester.
Mother and Leicester, add not oil to fire. Wrath's kindled with a word, and cannot hear the numberless persuasions you insort.
Oh, but my son, thy father favours him. Richard, that vile abortive changeling brat, and Falconbridge are fallen at Henry's feet. They woo for him, but entreat my son Gloucester may die for this, that he hath done.
If Gloucester live, thou wilt be overthrown.
If Gloucester live, thy mother dies in moan.
If Gloucester live, Leicester will fly the realm.
If Gloucester live, thy kingdom's but a dream.
Have I not sworn by that eternal arm that puts just vengeance sword in monarch's hands, Gloucester shall die for his presumption? What needs more conjuration, gracious mother? And honourable Leicester, mark my words, I have a bead roll of some 80 lords of Gloucester's faction.
Nay, of Henry's faction, of thy false father's faction. Speak the truth. He is the head of factions. Were he down, peace, plenty, glory will impale thy crown.
Aye, there's the butt whose heart white if we hit, the game is ours. Well, we may rage and rave at Gloucester, Lancaster, Chester, Fauconbridge, but his the upshot.
Yet begin with Gloucester.
The destinies run to the book of fates, and read in never-ending characters. Robert of Gloucester's end. He dies today, so faint, so heaven, so doth King Henry say.
Imperially resolved.
Trumpets from far off.
The old king comes.
Then comes luxurious lust, the king of concubines, the king that scorns the undefiled, chaste and nuptial bed, the king that hath his queen imprisoned for my sake. Scorn him, son, call him not father, give him the style of a competitor.
I seize upon my heart, wrath, fill mine eyes, sit, lawful majesty upon my front. Duty, fly from me, pity, be exiled, senses, forget that I am Henry's child.
I kiss thee, and I bless thee for this thought.
Enter the old king, Lancaster, Richard, and Falconbridge.
O Lancaster, bid Henry yield some reason why he desires so much the death of Gloucester.
I hear thee, Henry, and I thus reply. I do desire the death of bastard Gloucester, for that he spends the treasure of the crown. I do desire the death of bastard Gloucester, for that he doth desire to pull me down. Or, were this false, I purpose to be plain, he loves thee, and for that I him disdain.
Therein thou show'st a hate-corrupted mind, to him the more unjust, to me unkind.
He loves you as his father loved his mother.
Fie upon thee, hateful Elinor. I thought thou hadst been long since Scarlet died.
She is, and therefore cannot change her colour.
You are too strict. Earl Gloucester's fault merits not death.
By the rood, the prince says true. Here is a statute from the confessor.
The confessor was but a simple fool. Away with books. My word shall be a law. Gloucester shall die.
Let Gloucester die the death.
Leicester, he shall not. He shall have law despite of him and thee.
What law? Will you be traitors? What's the law?
His right hand's loss, and that is such a loss as England may lament, all Christians weep. That hand hath been advanced against the Moors, driven out the Saracens from Gads and Sicily, fought 15 battles under Christ's red cross, and is it not, think you, a grievous loss that for a slave and for no other harm it should be sundered from his princely arm?
More, for example, noble Lancaster, but 'tis great pity too great a pity.
I'll have his hand and head.
Thou shalt have mine then.
Well said, stubborn Dick. Jack would not serve me so, were their boy here.
Both John and I have served your will too long. Mother, repent your cruelty and wrong. Gloucester, you know, is full of mirth and glee, and never else did your grace injury.
Gloucester shall die.
Fetch him here. I'll see him dead.
He that stirs for him shall lay down his head.
Oh, quiet, good my lords, patience, I pray. I think he comes unsent for, by my fay.
Enter John in Gloucester's gown. Disguise strikes again. What meanest thou, Gloucester?
Who brought Gloucester hither?
Let Gloucester hang, and them that... There lies his case, a mischief on his carcass.
He says, throwing off his Gloucester's gown. It's John!
My dear son Jack.
Your dear son Jack and Apes, your monkey, your baboon, your ass, your gull.
What ails Earl John?
Hence, further from my sight, my fiery thoughts and wrath have work in hand. I'll curse you blacker than the Avernian lake, if you stand wondering at my sorrow thus. I am with child, big, hugely swollen with rage. Who'll play the midwife and my throbs assuage?
I will, my son.
I will, high-hearted brother.
You will, and you? Tut, tut, all you are nothing. Twill out, myself can ease. You chafe, you swell, you're commanding king. My father is your footstool when you please. Your words are law, these lords dare never speak. Gloucester must die, your enemies must fall.
What means our brother?
He means that thou art mad, she frantic, Leicester foolish, I the babe, thou grinders, biters, vexers, charge and discharge. Gloucester, oh Gloucester!
Where is Gloucester, son?
Where is Gloucester, brother?
I hope he be escaped.
Oh, I could tear my hair and, falling thus upon the solid earth, dig into Gloucester's grave so he were dead and gone into the depth of underworld. Or get sedition's 100,000 hand and like Briareus battle with the stars to pull him down from heaven if he were there.
Look to Earl John. The gentleman is mad.
Oh, who would not be mad at this disgrace? Gloucester the fox is fled. There lies his case.
He says, pointing to his gown.
He cozened me of mine, the porter helped him.
Porter shall be hanged. Let's part and seek him. Gloucester shall die. All Europe shall not save him.
He is wise, too wise for us. Yet I'll go with you, to get more fools into my company.
This is your father's plot. Revenge it, son.
Father, by heaven, if this were your advice, your head or heart shall pay the bitter price. Come, mother, brother, Leicester, let's away.
Aye, I'll be one, in hope to meet the bastard, and then no more. Myself will be his headsman.
Exeunt John and Leicester.
Richard and Falconbridge, follow the search. You may prevent mischance by meeting Gloucester. If you find Skink, see that you apprehend him. I hear there is a wizard at Black Heath. Let some inquire of him, where Skink remains. Although I trust not to those fallacies, yet now and then such men prove soothsayers. We be gone.
With all my heart, my lord. Come, princely Richard, we are ever yoked. Pray God there be no mystery in this.
Be not suspicious where there is no cause.
Nothing, I am but in jest.
Exeunt Richard and Falconbridge.
Call in a Pursuivant.
Oh, here's one, my liege. Enter Pursuivant.
There is a porter likely to be hanged for letting Gloucester escape. Sirrah, attend. You shall have a reprieve to bring him us. These boys are too stubborn, Lancaster. But 'tis their mother's fault. If thus she move me, I'll have her head, though all the world reprove me.
And exeunt King, Lancaster, and Pursuivant. End scene. Once again, the family their family get-togethers never go right, do they? I mean, there's several lovely little bits in this. I love the way the old king enters, and the first thing he says is, "Lancaster, tell that one over there what I think." And the young king just goes, "No, I can hear you."
Right
It's
here.
just so childish and petty. I absolutely love it. And Richard is there saying, "Oh, John and I were on the same. We're all. Let's be nice to Gloucester." And then John comes in, just kill him. It's great. Briony.
Yeah, I kind of started to notice yesterday, but I wanted to see a bit more before I said anything. But Richard, out of the three brothers, seems to be the voice of reason in these matters. He seems to be the one that's like, hang on a minute, let's not get carried away. But yeah, John just really needs anger management desperately.
Yeah, not a happy bunny. Elizabeth.
Speaking of people who need anger management, Queen Eleanor was just... I know they said she was full of like bile and vitriol, but when she comes on stage, it's really shocking how vicious she actually is. But I do quite like how strong she is.
Oh, I think she's great, and she has had a pretty torrid time of it. I mean, she has also commissioned a murder, but apart from that, it's there's all sorts of. It's that kind of week, I think. Actually, we were doing Medea last night. Briony, then Rachael.
I just wanted to take a second for the pregnant with rage bit, because that was beautiful. That was really nicely written, lovely to read, and I don't think I've read anything like that before. Like as I started reading it, when he said about "I'm with child," I thought, well, it must mean something else, and then I carried on reading. I was like, oh no, he really is pregnant with anger. I love it.
Rachael, then Lynn.
Brief history question, because I only know the Lion of Winter. Does Elinor eventually get her freedom when her sons come to power? Is she released?
Oh yeah. Eleanor's quite a force, a powerful force, unto her own right, in many ways. Though it's as ever, it's complicated. Lynn.
Yes, yeah. She even though she was 8, 9, 10 years older than Henry, she outlived him by quite a bit. So yeah. What I was gonna say is that I don't know, it's probably just me, but I'm having a little bit of a hard time suspending my disbelief about the staining the snow white sheets of my nuptial bed or whatever that was. I mean, it was perfectly normative for kings to have mistresses. So even in the period in which this play was written, let alone when the events took place. So her making a big deal about how Henry cheated on her with this whore, Rosamond. Are we going to be able to sell that? Probably. It's probably just me.
Lois, and then we'll probably move on.
Yeah, I just find it funny that Elinor thinks that this is your father's plot. Revenge it, son. I mean, the plot, as far as I can make out, is Gloucester's escape from prison. How on earth Henry could ever have worked out that sequence of events that led to Gloucester getting out of there? I can't imagine. I mean, she's just paranoid about her husband's behavior. And then, of course, he says, my sons are really terrible, but it's all their mother's fault.
Mm. They're great. They're a great family. Christmas must be awful. I mean, considering that there's a poison plot has been involved, you wouldn't want to eat anything that possibly Eleanor's passing around. And of course, we have this little bit. The old king saying, "There's a wizard at Blackheath. Let some inquire of him where Skink remains." And of course, we know from the first scene, it's Skink.
Yeah.
So we have another disguising thing. So hopefully that's going to lead to something interesting. Let us see. We're going to go to the next scene, scene 7, or running scene 16. Enter Robin Hood and Lady Falconbridge.
Do not deny me, gentle Huntington.
My lord will miss me.
Tut, let me excuse thee.
Turn, woman. Oh, it is intolerable. Except you promise me to play the page. Do that. Try one night, and you'll laugh forever to hear the orisons that lovers use, their ceremonies, sighs, their idle oaths, to hear how you are praised and prayed unto. For you are Richard's saint. They talk of Mary, the blessed Virgin, but upon his beads he only prays to Marian Falconbridge.
The more his error. But will you agree to be the Lady Falconbridge one day?
When is't?
On Monday.
Wherefore is't?
Nay, then, you do me wrong with inquisition, and yet I care not greatly, if I tell thee. Thou seest my husband full of jealousy, Prince Richard in his suit importunate, my brother Gloucester threatened by young Henry. To clear these doubts, I will in some disguise go to Blackheath, unto the holy hermit, whose wisdom in foretelling things to come will let me see the issue of my cares. If destinies ordain me happiness, I'll chase these mists of sorrow from my heart with the bright sun of mirth. If fate agree to it, and my friends must suffer misery, yet I'll be merry too till mischief come, only I long to know the worst of ill.
I'll once put on a scarlet countenance.
Be wary, lest ye be discovered, Robin.
Best paint me, then be sure I shall not blush.
Enter Block, bleeding, and Gloucester with him.
Be an officer, Redcap. I'll have you talk with all. Beat Sir Richard's porter. Help, madam, help.
Peace, you damned rogue.
Brother, I pray you forbear.
Zounds, 100's at my heels almost, and yet the villain stands on compliment.
A bot's on you, is it you?
Will you to the door, you fool, and bar the gate? Hold, there's an angel for your broken pate. If any knock, let them not in haste.
Well, I will do as I see cause. Blood thou art dear to me. But here's a sovereign plaster for the sore. Gold heal his wounds, gold ease his hearts. What can a man have more?
Exit Block.
Dear brother, tell us how you made escape.
Oh, you see, I am here. But if you would know how, I cannot scape and tell the manner too. By this I know your house is compassed with hellhound search.
Brother, I'll furnish you with beard and hair, and garment like my husband's. How like you that?
Well, when I have them, quick then, dispatch. Sblood, turn greybeard, and hair. Robin, conceal. This dieteth my mind. Mirth is the object of my humorous spleen. Thou high commanding fury, further device, jests are conceited. I long to see their birth.
And having exited earlier, re-enter Lady Falconbridge.
Ah, what? Come ye, sister. Robin, a thief's hand. But, prithee, where hadst thou this beard and hair?
Prince Richard wore them hither in a mask.
Ah, sayest thou me so? Faith, I love the princely youth. Tast, you must taste stolen pleasure now and then.
But if she steal, and jealous-eyed spy, she will be sure condemned of burglary.
Crake, can your low stumps venture so deep into affection's stream? Go to, you wanton. What want we now? My nightcap. Oh, 'tis here. So now, no Gloucester, but old Falconbridge. Hark, the search knocks. I'll let them in myself. Welcome, good fellows. What is you lack?
And just for the people at home, just to make it absolutely clear, Gloucester is now pretending to be Fauconbridge. Enter Redcap with 2 others.
Master Constable, search you that way. And you honest man that way. I'll run this way my own self.
They disperse themselves.
What search you for? What is it you would have?
Enter Block.
Madam, what shall I do with these brown-bill fellows? Some run to the wine cellar, some here, some there.
Let them alone. Let them search their fills.
I'll look to their fingers for all that.
Do so, good Block. Be careful, honest Block.
Sir Stammerer, you and your watch, you're past in faith.
And exit Block.
Will you not speak, knaves? Tell me who you seek.
Marry, sir, we seek a vagabond, a fugitive, my lady's own brother, and he were the Pope's own brother. I would search for him, for I have a poor father ready to be hanged for him.
Oh, 'tis for Gloucester. Marry, search a God's name. Seek peace. Will he bury prison too? It's a pity he should live. Nay, I defy him. Come, look about, search every little corner. Myself will lead the way. Pray you, come. Seek, seek, and spare not, though it be labor lost. He comes not under my roof. Hear you, wife? He comes not hither. Take it for a warning.
You speak like an honest gentleman. Rest you, Mary. Come, my friends. I believe he ran by the garden wall towards the water side.
Exeunt running Redcap, Constable and Watch.
This fellow's of the humor. I would choose my wife. Few words and many paces, a word and away. And so must I. Sister, adieu. Pray you for me, I'll do the like for you. Robin, farewell. Commend me to the prince.
Can ye not stay here safe?
No, I'll not trust the changing humors of old Falconbridge. Adieu, young earl. Sister, let's kiss and part. Tosh, never mourn. I have a merry heart.
Exit Gloucester.
Farewell, all comfort.
What, weeping, lady? Then I perceive you have forgot Blackheath.
No, there I'll learn both of his life and death.
Till Monday, madam. I must take my leave.
You will not miss them?
Nay, if Robin fail ye, let him have never favour of fair lady.
Meanwhile, I'll spend my time in prayers and tears, that Gloucester may escape these threatened fears.
And exit Lady Falconbridge and Robert. I mean, isn't it lucky that Lady Falconbridge has beard and hair, just lying around from I mean, it's a question of how good the beard and hair is. I mean, part of me is hoping it's sort of, effectively sort of Christmas tinsel left over or something. That it's something really naff, and yet the disguise always works. And once again, someone has to pretend to be somebody else, and it's the gift that just keeps on giving. In so many different ways. While Lady and Robert are continuing on their particular separate track as well. Any thoughts in the room before we nip on into the next scene? In a sense, it's a sort of variation on a theme without too much sort of development per se. There's a little bit of plot development, but otherwise just good, clean fun going on there. Lois?
Yeah, it seems to require actors to imitate other actors. It must be quite fun. It's a sort of tour de force, really, for the company.
Yes, it's asking everyone to make sure that their individual performances as a character is bold enough that other people can imitate it in a suitably recognisable fashion. So there's a sort of doubleness to that, which is really interesting. Okay, we're going to move straight on then into running our scene 8 or scene 17 in the sort of maximalist sense. Enter Skink, still dressed like Prince John.
Thus jets my noble Skink along the streets, to whom each bonnet veils and all knees bend. And yet my noble humour is too light by the 6 shillings. Here are 2 cracked groats to helter-skelter at some vaulting house.
Enter Falconbridge.
But who comes yonder? Ah, old Falconbridge. That brave chain. Were John and he good friends, that chain were mine, and should unto Blackheath not venture. It's for trial, luck may fall. Good morrow, good Sir Richard Falconbridge.
Good morrow, my sweet prince, hearty good morrow. This greeting well becomes us, marry does it better a whist than strife and jangling. Now can I love ye? Will ye to the sheriff's? Your brother Richard hath been there this hour.
Yes, I'm plodding forward as you do. What cost your chain? It's passing strongly wrought. I would my goldsmith had a pattern of it.
Oh, 'tis at your grace's service. Show it him.
Then dare ye trust me?
Oh, the princely John, my sovereign son. Why, what a question's that? I'll leave you. You may know I dare trust you.
I'll bring it ye at the sheriff's. Excuse my absence.
I will, my noble lord. Adieu, sweet prince.
Exit Falconbridge sans chain.
Why so? This breakfast was well fed upon. When Skink's devices on Blackheath do fail, this and such cheats would set me under sail. I'll to the waterside. Would it were later on, for still I am afraid to meet Prince John.
So Skink, who's disguised as Prince John, is afraid of possibly encountering Prince John, having just encountered Falconbridge. Unfortunately for him, enter Gloucester, who is disguised like Falconbridge.
But what a message it meant Falconbridge to come against us soon. That way he went, and now comes speaking. On my life, the buzzard hath me in suspicion. But whatever chance, I'll filch a share.
Yonder's Prince John. I hope he cannot know me. There's naught but Gloucester in their mouths. I'm half strangled with the garlic breath of rascals that exclaim as I pass by, Gloucester is fled, once taken he must die. But I'll to John. How does my gracious lord? What babbles rumour now? What news of Gloucester?
What news could I hear since you left me last? Were you not hearing now? Lend me your chain. I think you dote.
Oh, sweet prince, age I forget. My brother's chain, a pretty accident. but I'll have it and be in the spite of John.
There's more and more. I'll gild it, Erico.
He breaks the chain.
This same shall keep me in some tavern merry, till night's black hand curtain this too dark clear sky.
My sweet prince, I have some cause to use my chain. Another time, whene'er your lordship please, 'tis at your service. Oh, marry God, it is.
Here, Palsy, take your chain, stoop and be hanged.
Casts it down.
Yet the fish nibbled when she might not swallow. Out I've curtailed what I could not borrow.
Exit Skink.
He's gone away and frets. Would he might meet my brother Falconbridge in this mad mood. There would be rare ado. Why, this fits me. My brain flows with fresh wit and policy. But Gloucester, look about. Who have we yonder? Another John. Prince Richard and the sheriff. Upon my life, the slave that had the chain was Skink, escaped the fleet by some mad sleight. Well, farewell he. Better and better still. These seek for me, yet I will have my will.
Yes, now having exited the fake Prince John, enter the real Prince John, Prince Richard and the sheriff.
Sheriff, in any case be diligent. Who's yonder? Falconbridge?
How now, sweet Chuck, how fares my lovely prince?
What carest thou? Or well or ill, we crave no help of thee.
God's mother, do you scorn me?
Go it, what then?
Fie, leave these idle brawls, I prithee, John. Let's follow that we are enjoined unto.
Ay, marry, prince, if now you slip the time, Gloucester will slip away. But though he hate me, I have done service. I have found him out.
That shame confound thee for thy treachery, inconstant dotard, timorous old ass that shakes with cowardice, not with years.
Go, I have found him. I have winded him.
Oh, let me hug thee, gentle Falconbridge. Forgive my oft ill-using of thine age. I'll call thee father. I'll be penitent. Bring me where Gloucester is. I'll be thy slave. All that is mine thou in reward shalt have.
Oh, soft, not too hasty. I would not be seen in't. Marry a God, my wife would chide me dead if Gloucester by my means should lose his head. Princely Richard, at this corner make your stand, and for I know you love my sister well. No, I am Gloucester, not Falconbridge.
Heaven prosper thee, sweet prince, in thy escape.
Sheriff, make this your quarter. Make good guard. John, stay you here. This way he means to turn. Oh, by Thomas, I lack a sword, body of me.
What wouldst thou with a sword, old Falconbridge?
Oh, sir, to make show in his defence. For I've left him yonder at a house, a friend of mine, an honest citizen.
Well, fetch him thence.
Nay, then, you injure me. Stay till he come. He's in a russet cloak, and must attend me like a serving man.
Hold, there's my sword, and with my sword my heart. Bring him for God's sake, and for thy desert, my brother king and mother queen shall love thee.
Mark me, good prince. Yonder away we come. I go afore, and Gloucester follows me. Let not the sheriff nor Richard meddle with us. Begin you first. Seize Gloucester and arrest him. I'll draw and lay about me here and here. Be heedful that your watchman hurt me not.
I'll hang him that doth hurt thee. Prithee away. I love thee, but thou kill'st me with delay.
Well, keep close watch. I'll bring him presently.
Away then, quickly.
Gloucester, close. Master Sheriff, Prince Richard.
Gloucester, adieu.
I trust you.
By my knighthood, I'll prove true. Exit Gloucester, still disguised as Falconbridge.
Revenge. I'll build a temple to your name, and the first offering shall be Gloucester's head. Thy altars shall be sprinkled with the blood, whose wanton current his mad humour fed. He was a rhymer and a riddler, a scoffer at my mother, praised my father. I'll fit him now for all, escape and all.
Take heed, spite burst not in his proper gall. Enter the real Falconbridge and block.
How now? What way took Falconbridge, I wonder? That is not Gloucester. Sure that attends on him.
He came not at the sheriff's by the morrow mass. I sought the goldsmith's row and found him not. Sirrah, are you sure he sent not home my chain?
Who should send home your chain, sir?
The Prince John. I lent it him today.
What's this they talk?
By my truth, sir, and ye lent it him, I think ye may go look for it. For one of the drawers of the salutation told me even now that he had took up a chamber there till evening, and then he will away to Kent.
Body of me, he means to spend my chain. Come, Block, I'll to him.
Hear you, Falconbridge.
Aye, what a knave art thou. Yonder's Prince John.
There's a drawer's knave. He told me Prince John was at the salutation.
Where's Gloucester, Falconbridge?
Ah, sweet prince, I know not.
Come, jest not with me. Tell me where he is.
I never saw him since the Parliament.
Impudent liar! Didst thou not even now say thou wouldst fetch him? Hadst thou not my sword?
Wert thou a king, I will not bear the lie. Thy sword, no, boy, thou seest this sword is mine.
My master a liar, zoons wert thou a potentate.
I scorn to wear thy arms, untutored child. I fetch thee, Gloucester, shameless did I see thee, since as I went this morning to the sheriff's, thou borrowedst my gold chain.
Thy chain?
I hope thou wilt not cheat me, Princox John.
I'll cheat thee of thy life if thou charge me with any chain.
Come, let him come, I pray. I'll whip thee, boy. I'll teach you to outface.
Come, but one at once, ye dastards, come.
Keep the king's peace, I see you are both deceived. He that was last here was not Falconbridge.
They slander me. Who says that I was here?
We do believe ye, sir, nor do you think my brother John deceived you of a chain.
He did. I did deliver it with this hand.
I'll die upon the slanderer.
Let the boy come.
Aye, let him come.
Fellow, thou speakst even now as if Prince John had been at some old tavern in the town.
Aye, sir, I came up now but from the salutation, and the drawer that doth not use to lie told me Prince John had been there all this afternoon.
The devil in my likeness then is there.
The devil in thy likeness or thyself had my gold chain.
Thou art the devil, for thou hadst my good sword. All these can witness it.
God's mother, thou beliest me.
Give me the lie.
Nay, calm this fury. Let's down to the tavern. One or both. These counterfeits are there.
I know him well enough that had my chain, and there be two Johns. If I find one there, by Our Lady, I will lay him fast.
It is this skink that mocks us, I believe.
Alas, poor skink. It is the devil Gloucester, who, if I be so happy once to find him, I'll give contentment to his troubled mind.
I hope he's far enough and free enough, yet these conceits I know delight his soul. Follow me, Blocker, follow me, honest Blocker.
Much follow you. I've another piece of work in hand. I hear say Redcap's father shall be hanged this afternoon. I'll see him slip a string, though I give my service to slip. Besides, my lady bade me hear his examination at his death. I'll get a good place and pen it word for word, and as I like it, let out a mouth mournful ditty to the tune of Le Bandalashat, or Row well ye mariners, or somewhat my muse shall invoke.
And exit block, etc. Once again, another variation on the disguising, but this time Gloucester getting away, Falconbridge having his chain stolen first by Skink basically having it stolen back again by Gloucester, Gloucester working with Richard while pretending to be Falconbridge to sort of leave John standing there guarding the passage. And every time we've got the gag of someone exits to the left and someone they immediately re-enter from the right, and everyone's just going, how the hell did he get over there? And even though John knows, and Falconbridge knows that there are people wandering around disguised as other people, they know this from the previous scene. So they are being a bit. Someone's passing the idiot ball around for this scene a bit, but it is also really fun, and there's some really nice stuff. And just as the series of confusions go on, because you took my chain, you took my sword, back and forth it goes. Thoughts from the room. Who wants to leap in? We're just enjoying it, aren't we? You know, there's not much to say there. Briony.
Yeah, like you said, it's such a farcical, fun romp. Yeah, I would love to play this on a stage.
Because basically, because so many people have just passed their costume to somebody else, everybody is now playing somebody else, and it's it's really nice. There's that weird bit at the end though that Block's sort of talking about Redcap's father shall be hanged this afternoon, which sort of from the prison sequence earlier. So just thinking that some dire consequences of that escape seem to be the thing, or is that just, am I overreading that, or am I missing something there?
That is really weird. Yeah,
they said that when John came in the other clothes in that last scenes ago, they did say the porter will be hanged for this escape.
Yeah,
it's a comedy, guys. You can't do that. I'm hoping it all turns out well.
All he has to do is disguise himself as someone else, and he's fine.
They'll find a
he could
proper
be Henry II. I mean, who would know?
Yeah.
It's the power of early modern disguises.
Yeah, I mean, it's class solidarity. Porter and Block, who at least seem to have an IQ, which is more than most of the knobs do.
Yeah, and I think we've had encounters with Row Well Ye Mariners before as well, so that's a tune that rings a bell.
Yeah,
so,
the other one rang no bells at all.
It does with me, because it's actually a tune that I think is used in Eastward Ho. I think there's a long ballad sung at the end, and apparently it's to that tune. There are various theories as to what that title means. I think it's that it might have originated in some other country and be a misunderstanding of some foreign word.
It's La Bamba.
We've got lots of good stuff. It's taking a series of gags and it's just running with them and it's mixing them up. But the fact that it's all the royal family. This isn't. This kind of farce, you're sort of expecting something slightly further down the food chain. It's quite delightful, actually, that it is actually these people who really should know better and should have some level of dignity in play, and they don't, and it's great. Briony.
And they're using these kind of rounded caricatures of their characters to such great effect, the way that every time John comes in with his explosive anger and Richard's there to just, oh my god, let's have an aside, this is ridiculous. They're just used so nicely. It's really well written.
And we've set up the next scene as they've been going, they've all gone to the tavern, so stand by for a tavern scene. Lois.
I was just going to say that Gloucester does have this idiotic fondness for funny episodes. I mean, whatever is happening, even when people are out to kill him, he can't resist. Oh, good, here's some opportunity for a joke.
Yes, he's a merry fellow, isn't he? It seems to be his particular character trait that he's going for. Okay, any more? Otherwise, we'll dive into scene 9, or running scene 21. Enter Gloucester, like Falconbridge, with the beard and everything. He's still got the hair. With a pursuivant. Gloucester having a paper in his hand, the pursuivant bear.
A charitable deed, God bless the king. He shall be then reprieved.
Aye, sir, some day or two. Till the young king and Prince John change it, especially if the good earl be not found, which God forbid.
What house is this that we are stepped into to read this warrant in?
A tavern, sir. Salutation.
A tavern. Then I will turn prodigal. Call for a pint of sack, good fellow.
Drawer!
Anon, sir.
Enter drawer.
A pint of thy best sack, my pretty youth.
God bless your worship, sir. Ye shall have the best in London, sir.
What, knowest thou me? Knowest thou old Falconbridge? I am no tavern hunter, I can tell you.
But my master hath taken many a fair pound of your man Block. He was here today, sir, and emptied 2 bottles of Nipitate sack.
Well, fill us of your Nipitate, sir. This is well chanced. But hear ye, boy, bring sugar in white paper, not in brown. For in white paper I have here a trick that'll make the pursuivant first swoon, then sick. Thou honest fellow, what's thy name?
My name is Winterbourne, sir.
What countryman, I prithee?
Berkshire, and please you.
How long hast thou been sworn a messenger?
But yesterday, and please your worship, this is the first employment I've had.
Enter drawer with sugar and wine.
A good beginning. Here, have to thee, fellow. Thou art my fellow, now thou servest the king. Nay, take sugar too. God's lady dear, I put it in my pocket, but it's here. Drink a good draught, I prithee, Winterbourne.
He drinks and falls over the stool.
Oh, Lord, Sir Richard, the man.
Oh, what a forgetful beast am I. Peace, boy. It is his fashion ever when he drinks. Fellow, he hath the falling sickness. Run, fetch 2 cushions to raise up his head, and bring a little key to ope his teeth.
Exit drawer.
Pursuivant, your warrant and your box, these must with me. The shape of Fauconbridge will hold no longer water hereabout. Gloucester will be a Proteus every hour, that Elinor and Leicester, Henry, John, and all that rabble of hate-loving curs may minister me more mirth to play upon.
Re-enter the drawer with an assistant.
Here's a key, sir, and one of our folk to help.
No matter for a key. Help him but in, and lay him by the fire a little while. He'll wake immediately, but be not heartsick. There's money for a candle and thy wine. I'll go but up unto your alderman's, and come down presently to comfort him.
Exeunt Gloucester and Pursuivant.
Drawer! What drawer? With a vengeance! Drawer!
Speak in the crown there.
Having spoken offstage, enter Skink, disguised like Prince John.
They become. The devil crown ye one by one. Skink, thou art betrayed. That Master Falconbridge, missing some of his chain, has got thee dogged. Drawer! What drawer?
Anon, sir.
Was not Sir Richard Falconbridge below?
Yes, and please ye.
It does not please me well. Knows he that I am here?
No, I protest.
Come hither, sirrah. I have little money, but here's some few links of a chain of gold. Upon your honesty, knows not Sir Richard that I am here?
No, by my holy dam.
Who's that was with him?
Why, a pursuivant.
Where is Sir Richard?
At the alderman's.
Pursuivant? And at the alderman's? What pig or goose or capon have you killed within your kitchen new?
A pig new sticked.
Fetch me a saucer of the blood. Quick, run!
Exit drawer.
Fit the pursuivant and alderman and Falconbridge. If Skink have any wit. Well, Gloucester, I never did love thee yet, but thou'st the maddest lord that e'er I met. If I escape this and meet thee once again, curse Skink, if he die a penny in thy debt.
Re-enter drawer.
Oh, my lord, the house is full of halberts, and a great many gentlemen ask for the room where Prince John is.
Lend me thy apron. Run and fetch a pot from the next room. Betrayed, swoons, betrayed by gout, by palsy, by dropsy.
Re-enter drawer with a pot.
Oh, brave boy, excellent blood. Up, take my cloak and my hat to thy share. When I come from Kent, I'll pay thee like a king.
I thank you, my lord.
Exit drawer. So just pause there. So another costume change there with the drawer, and yeah, because he's surrounded. Because yes, he did take some links from the chain before returning it. Okay, I just want to just question what happened to the Pursuivant. Did he just put him in a diabetic coma or something? Because he just asks for sugar, puts it in wine, asks the Pursuivant presumably to down it, and he just goes tumbling down. Lois.
No, I think he has a packet of some sort of sleeping powder in his pocket. When he asks for sugar, he says, "Oh, I put it in my pocket. Oh, here it is." And then he brings out the sleeping potion and puts that in the wine.
Because he did make an issue of making sure the sugar came in a white wrapper.
Yeah, not in brown. So to cover that swift change. It just just confused me.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Gloucester carries around a sleeping draft. Though it's not just a sleeping draft because it will make him swoon then sick. So quite poisonous then. Actually, he's
really
just poisoned the poor bugger.
Yeah. Maybe he thought he'd have trouble sleeping in the prison. I mean, since this all started there. Or maybe it was in Prince Richard's pocket. Let's see, whose clothes is he wearing by this time?
He's in Falconbridge. He's Falconbridge.
So. Falconbridge probably wasn't carrying it around.
Well, maybe his sister had a preparation for making people sick before he left. Shall we not worry too much about the logic?
Yes.
Don't look for logic.
Why is this happening? Because
Fool's errand.
There we are.
As luck and the plot would have it.
Yeah. It's either that or it's a total. There's a missing stage direction, and it's like he pours him the thing, and then he just clobbers him over the head. It's like doesn't work, whack. Anyway, lots of potential there. So yeah, Skink turns up. He's in trouble, and because he's still dressed like Prince John, they're after him as well, and so he's now disguising himself as the drawer. So yeah, not confusing. It's all very straightforward. Any other thoughts before we move forward? Everybody's going to the salutation. I'm assuming the salutation is a genuine pub or tavern that I don't know if we know anything about it, but maybe that's one for future people. I'll go to Briony before I go to Elizabeth.
There is. I don't know if it's the same one in question, but there is the Ye Olde Salutation to Jerusalem, which still stands and operates in Nottingham, and it is mega old, so it could be.
So it's not presumably an uncommon name in that sense. So we know of at least one. Okay. I'm sure we may be able to find out more, or maybe people watching the video will comment and tell us that they know all about it. Go on. Why not use the comment section for something positive rather than just barracking us with just pointless trolling comments? Actually, you've all been very good so far. No trolling so far. I'm tempting fate now, aren't I? We're doomed.
Yes.
Elizabeth.
Just speaking to the dynamism of the play, I feel like it resists our stop and start structure to our exploring sessions. I always get a sense of like, oh no, let's carry on, let's find out what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I mean, this is one, and this is moving at a fair old lick. I mean, we're getting through quite a lot of text, and it's a reasonably chunky play. But actually, I'm sort of going, no, this is moving fast enough that actually it really doesn't matter too much. I'm not sitting here going, oh, we need to cut large chunks now to get it. It's going to be a long play, but I think there's so many moving parts that you can't take out, and so much business. You just have to just keep this moving forward, because there's just so much for you to play with. Anyway, on that comment of keeping moving forward, let's keep moving forward. So, just to make sure everyone's in the room, Skink is now in a new disguise, having taken the apron and gown from the drawer. Drawer has exited. Enter John, the real John, Richard, the real Richard, Falconbridge, the real Falconbridge, sheriffs and officers.
Now, fortune help will never come. And ye were a prince, and ye say ye are, ye would be ashamed to abuse a poor servant thus. But and if ye were not of the blood royal, I'd break the neck of ye down the stairs, so I would. I'll teach thee to hurt prentices.
Who hurt thee, fellow?
Prince devil or his dam. Prince John, they call him.
Gloucester, I hope.
I doubt not, but 'tis Skink.
Where is he?
Up them stairs. Take heed of him. He's in the crown.
Alas, poor fellow, he hath crowned thee shrewdly.
In recompense, if it be him I seek, I'll give thee his whole head to tread upon. Follow me, brother. Come, old Falconbridge. Keep the stairs, Sheriff. You see it waxeth dark. Take heed he slip not by you.
And they all exit apart from Skink.
Cells. This darkness shall convey me out of doors. I'll swim the Thames, but I'll attain Blackheath. London, farewell. Curse John. Ray, Falconbridge. Skink escapes you all by twilight's privilege.
And exit Skink. Voices off.
Where is
where
he?
is he?
Lights! Bring lights! Drag out that boy!
Enter all with the boy.
This is my cloak, my hat, my rapier, and either it was Skink or Gloucester.
I know not who 'twas, sir. He said he was Prince John. He took away my apron and a pottle pot with him, and all too blooded his head and face.
Ah, we met him! By St. Anthony, we met him!
The fire of St. Anthony confound this changing counterfeit who whatsoever he be.
It makes me laugh at envious greediness who feeds upon her own heart's bitterness.
Sirrah, you that were born to cry anon, what other cope's mates have you in the house?
Sir, my master's guests be none of my cope's mates.
Well, your guess. Can you guess who they be?
Marry, here's a pursuivant that this gentleman, Sir Richard Fauconbridge, left sick even now.
Marry of God, did I, thou lying knave?
I am a poor boy, sir. Your worship may say your pleasure. Our maids have had a foul hand with him. You said he would be sick, so he is, with a witness.
Look about, Falconbridge. Here's work for you. You have some evil angel in your shape. Go, sirrah. Bring us forth that pursuivant.
Enter two leading the pursuivant very sick. Gloucester, thou wilt be too venturous. Thou dost delight in these odd humours so that I much fear there'll be thy overthrow.
Oh, not too fast. Oh, I'm sick. Oh, very sick.
What picture of the pestilence is this?
Poor man, sir. Poor man, sir. Down, I pray ye. I pray. Let me sit down. Ah, Sir Richard, a good Sir Richard. What have I deserved to be thus dealt with all at your worship's hands? Oh!
At my hands, knave? At my hands, paltry knave?
And I should be brought to my book oath, sir. What, Geoffrey? Anon.
A plague upon your Jeffring. Is your name Geoffrey?
Aye, and it please you, sir.
Why, gentle Geoffrey, then stay you a while. What can you say if you come to your book?
If I be posed upon a book, sir, though I be a poor apprentice, I must speak the truth, and nothing but the truth, sir.
And what's your truth, sir?
Oh, my heart!
Marry, sir, this knight, this man of worship.
Well, what of me? What did my worship do?
Marry, ye came into the Bell, our room next the bar, with this honest man, as I take it.
As thou takest it.
Oh, sir, 'tis true, too true, oh Lord!
And there he called for a pint of sack. As good sack, I'll be posed upon all the books that ever opened and shut, as any in all Christendom.
Body of me, I come and call for sack.
Oh, you did. Oh.
Well, forward, sirrah.
Gloucester have done this jest.
And you called then for sugar, sir, as good sugar and as wholesome as ever came in any cup of sack. You drank to this man, and you do well, God be thanked, but he no sooner drank.
I, oh, my head, oh, my heart!
I cannot choose but smile at these conceits.
I am mad, and yet I must laugh at Falconbridge. Brother, Look how Sir Richard acts his rage.
I come, I call. The man is like to die. Practice by the mass, practice by the merry God. I shall be charged here for a poisoned knave. Practice by the Lord, practice. I see it clear.
And more, Sir Richard. Oh, Lord. Oh, Sir Richard.
What more? What hast thou more? What practice more?
Oh, my box with the king's arms. My box, oh, my box. It cost me, oh, Lord, every penny. Oh, my box.
And what of your box, sir?
Marry, sir, it's lost. And 'tis well known my master keeps no thieves in his house. Oh, there was none but you and he.
Oh, then belike thou thinkest I had his box.
Oh, Sir Richard, I will not. Oh, Lord, I will not charge you for all the world, but for the warrant the old king signed to reprieve the porter of the fleet. Oh, God, oh, God.
The porter of the fleet? The old king signed...
Aye, my good lord, aye.
Is he reprieved then?
No, my lord. Oh, Sir Richard took it from me with his own hand. Oh!
Here's a device to bring me in contempt with the old king that I ever loved. Princes and sheriff, you can witness with me that I have been with you this afternoon, only with you, with nobody but you. And now a fellow whom the king would save by a reprieve, this fellow says is hanged.
If thou hadst done it, I'd have justified it. But, Richard, I conceit this jest already. This mad mate Skink, this honest merry knave, meeting this Pursuivant and hearing tell he had a warrant to reprieve a slave, whom we would hang, stole it away from him. This is sure the jest, upon my life it is.
Oh, but my warrant, how shall I do? Oh!
Oh, but look about you. Hot-brained brother John, and I believe you'll find it otherwise. Gloucester hath got the warrant in disguise, and saved the fellow you so fain would hang.
No, no. How say you, Master Sheriff? Is he not hanged?
My lord, the gibbet was set up by noon in the Old Bailey, and I charged my men, if I return not, though it were by torchlight, to see him executed ere they come.
I am greedy to hear news.
Robbed of my chain, outfaced I had a sword, accused of poisoning, cousinage, seeking blood, not to be borne, it is intolerable.
Sir Richard, I prithee have some patience.
I'll to Blackheath, talk not of patience, it is intolerable, not to be borne.
It is intolerable not to be born. A warrant, brother. Falconbridge, a warrant.
I saw no warrant. I defy you all.
A slave, a pursuivant, one winterborn.
I care not for thee that winterborn.
Oh, it is I, sir. That's my warrant.
It's you? You rogue, you drunkard. We are cheated, and we are cheated of the prisoner. Out, dog, dog.
Oh, my lord!
Exit Pursuivant withdrawer.
Have patience, and we will have a privy search.
Go hang, ye blockheads. Get ye from my sight. Oh, would I were a basilisk to kill these blear-eyed villains.
Come away, let's leave him. We have a warrant, let him do his worst.
Exeunt sheriff and officers.
I'll to Blackheath, I'll to the holy hermit. There shall I know not only these deceivers, but how my wife plays fast and loose with Richard. I shall fit them. I shall tickle them. I'll do it. I'll to the heath amain.
Exit Falconbridge.
There shall I know where this damned Gloucester is. I'll have the devils roused to find that devil, or else I'll conjure the old conjurer. I'll to Blackheath, and there with friends conspire, but I'll have Gloucester's head, my heart's desire.
Exit John. Would mad Earl Robin saw these humorists, 'twould feed him fit with laughter. Oh, 'twould fit him wherever he is. I know the bare conceit is better to him than his daintiest food. Well, and it fits me well. Now I have time to court my lady Falconbridge at leisure. Love, I implore thy aid. Fair Cypria, thou sea-born mother at affection's ring, shine brightly in thy sphere. Thou art my star, my planet. Thou of all lights most beauteous, be thou to my desires auspicious. Exit Richard. Okay. Lots of nice layering here. I really like the fact that you've got people just off in their own worlds while other bits of the scenes are going on. So Falconbridge is just going, me, my chain, I'm still on my chain, while everybody else is trying to deal with some other business. The Pursuivant just constantly going, oh, is me. It's an interesting queuing issue, actually, with the Pursuivant, because how long does the Pursuivant go on for? Because he does give his cues for people to jump in several times in some of his speeches. Mm-hmm. So, oh my box, oh my box, oh my box. Well, that's the cue for Richard to jump in. Mm-hmm. So at what point, does Richard know that he's got to wait, 5-6 times for his box to before he jumps in? Or does he just try and get a word in edgeways with the Pursuivant? Is there a sort of game going on there with how you cue that? We got the title of the play in.
Yeah.
I hope I was subtle about it.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah. Lois, then Briony.
Yeah, actually, people have said "look about" at various points.
Yeah.
I think this is the first time someone said "look about you," but it obviously means something like "watch it" or things are getting complicated. Oh gosh, what was the other thing I was going to point out? Oh yeah, there's a theory I think that Tiffany Stern has about those cases where the cue is given several times before the real cue, which is, I think, that it's meant to create that kind of situation of someone trying to get a word in and make the whole thing more dynamic.
Because this is very dynamic. This is very complicated. There's lots of little moving parts within here. People running on and off stage. Skink makes his escape. Skink got away, and everybody else is left holding on their proverbials. Briony, then Alan.
Yeah, I just love that the only thing that derails John's anger is taking a moment to laugh at someone else being more angry than he is. What a guy.
Yeah. John is really quite a part, isn't he? Alan, then Lynn.
Yeah, I mean, the Pursuivant could actually extend that scene almost ad nauseam by really overacting the damaged guy who's not only unwell but also probably looking at being terminated on the grounds of not having done his job properly.
Well, it does seem to be that John literally kicks him off stage, doesn't he? It does seem that there's a physical action there with the oh my lord.
I think there's probably posh boys whacking him round the head.
Lynn.
So I couldn't keep track. Did the poor porter get reprieved or not?
We don't know.
No. Yeah, it depends what Gloucester has done with the document that he took from the box.
And I can't remember whether Gloucester would have wanted him to be reprieved or not.
I think
it was Gloucester's porter.
Yeah, he dobbed him in it, basically. So I suppose he would feel beholden to let him off.
Yeah.
Right, because
the
porter basically helped Gloucester escape, right?
Well, he may not have wittingly done it, but in the sense his escape is why the porter is in trouble.
Okay.
So he might feel guilty on that level. Then maybe the porter was a bastard, so maybe he wants him to be. I don't know. I'm going to go with he's a fun guy. He doesn't want death to intrude on this comedy, but he does raise a certain stake. I quite like that. Elizabeth and Alan.
What was given to the Pursuivant? Because that whatever they gave him, there was some nasty stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know, but we could make a production choice. Alan, then Rachael.
Yeah, I think, quite honestly, Gloucester is about the only sympathetic character among the posh boys. So I think the motivation there is that yes, if he got an opportunity to do good, he would do.
Well, I say I don't know about whether they're people are unsympathetic. I mean, they're all sort of, they've all got their. I mean, it's almost like they've all got their humours, that they've all got a specific sort of trait that they're playing. I don't know. I'm just saying that because we've done quite a few humours plays of late, but it does feel that John is just the one who is incredibly angry all the time, and others. I don't think it quite fully works that way, but yeah. Rachael.
I was just gonna say, the John's got some really great lines that we've already said. I really like the verse in this, and today it's really rocketed up my list. You know what I mean? I really want to. I know we're not done yet, but I want to take a second look at this because I don't know. There's so much to say, and this is kind of what I expected from Johnson's play that didn't really materialize last week, because there's those extremes of humors that you said, like how amorous Richard is, and how I guess is it gall when you're that angry? John is
choleric. Yeah,
and then I don't know, there's something really human about Block and Redcap, but the other guys, the posher people, seem really out of sorts and really unbalanced humoristically.
Yeah. And once again, we got setting up for later on. Falconbridge, I'm going to the Holy Hermit. John, I'm going to the Holy Hermit too.
Yeah.
Richard, I'm going to go off with that man's wife. So, I mean, if we're asking the question, for a modern performance, where do you put an interval? At the moment, that's feeling like a good place, actually. It feels very full-stoppy. It may not be when we go into the next session and we go further into the play. But I was sort of going, okay, good. We've got our first half. That felt good. I mean, it's an interesting question if we do a second look of this, we need to coordinate our hat work here, to make sure, because we wouldn't. I think we would have to make some concession, even if we're just doing a rough run through, to make sure that some attempt at disguise is going on, because otherwise anyone watching would, if we're not stopping and starting and explaining what's going on, it would just be a blah.
You've got one very easy one, a red cap. That's the easy one. It's when the posh boys are changing clothing that you've got more of an issue.
We've got a chain for Falconbridge. We got a beard for Falconbridge as well. So there's. I mean, it is giving us clues as to what some of the costuming should be, which is nice. It's not just cloaks and color scheme. I think everyone has to have a very distinctive color. Plumage, so you know who they are. Who else was waving? Briony, were you waving, or did I imagine that? Did I just?
I was, but the thought has just flown away.
I mentioned plumage, and that's obviously what happened. Okay, so yeah, we're 9 scenes into the play, and it's really. It's once it got set up. I mean, it got set up fairly quickly. Even if you didn't necessarily hold on to all the details of who was precisely on whose side, because there has been some slight shifting in that. You just get this wonderful sense of a family at war, and then everything just once it started ticking over, it's just delivering payload after payload of really nice situations. Even though on paper all of the situations are pretty much exactly the same. In a sense, we've had several scenes that are the same joke is being played, but with just enough variation and enough different fall guys as well. That we've got the Pursuivant who is the new fall guy here for this scene. I mean, on a class consciousness note, it's not saying good things, is it? Because who's the ones who get potentially killed here, and who are the ones who are being poisoned effectively. It seems to be that I mean, in theory, yes, Gloucester is in trouble, but are we that worried for him? Lois.
Yeah, it's quite interesting actually. I mean, Gloucester and Skink are sort of doubles. The aristocratic Joker and the low life Joker, who's I mean, because they both behave very similarly and they look like each other at times. And then we've got the fact that although I suppose the main sort of plot is something going to happen to Gloucester if they manage to catch him, the kind of overriding thing is, will Redcap's father get pardoned? I mean, it's funny that the fate of a relatively minor, lower class character should seem like the main plot device at this point, with all these aristocrats foaming at the mouth about it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's quite nice at this point to throw it in, because it does leave us with a sort of sense of, actually he could die because he's so unimportant a character. Where in a way, I'm not worried about Gloucester because he's a name. He's got a name. You can kill unnamed characters even in comedy. Briony, then Rachael.
Yes, the thought came back. So I like how we've kind of forgotten the Robin Hoodiness of it, because everything else has been so engaging. But I think it's really interesting that Robert is now in the stage directions being more and more mentioned as Robin Hood as we get further into the play.
Rachael.
Yeah, to what Lois just said, this lower class character being the source of tension. I mean, I know like in history plays, they play sometimes fast and loose with the history, but I think it might be more difficult with characters like Richard and John, or even young Henry, to play that tension for an audience. I'm assuming because they might know at least generally what happens to these people.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting actually thinking of this as a history play. I mean, it is obviously playing fast and loose with history, but it is setting it within a genuine family quarrel. I mean, these brothers and their father, they did not get on, any of them. I mean, in so many different ways. So there is a sort of seed of truth in all of this that does actually layer in quite nicely. Lois.
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly based on history. It's also very much based on stereotypes that already existed. And of course, this is after the Monday plays. We've got the idea on the whole of Richard as the future good king and the heroic one and so on. And then John is the, in spite of the attempts of some Reformation dramatists to make him some kind of hero because of what he did later about confiscating money from the clergy. I mean, he just basically is either funny or disgusting. And that's pretty much what's done here. And you notice that the character of the young King Henry, they didn't know anything about him because he died early, and they're not remotely interested in him. I mean, we don't see a lot of him. He's not running around the country with these others because I think there isn't any sense really of a prefab character that you can impose on him.
Yes, he's just a bit antagonistic to his father and creates the destabilization. He's more plot device than person in that sense. Yeah. But the family dynamic does work when they're all together. So it did, and there is some very lovely business that goes with it. Alan.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm seeing Skink as being of the middle sort. He's a sort of junior courtier because he's actually known to the old king, at least by name. So he's a class above the likes of Glock and the Porter.
Yeah, that's a good point. And because he sort of leaps out of nowhere and has a backstory that we don't know anything about at the beginning of the play.
He seems to be known to all of the major protagonists.
Yeah, I mean, and often not in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, he's possibly the scholarship boy when they were all paid for students at some posh establishment.
Right, we are into extra time, so it's time for final thoughts. Most of us have been here for the first half of the play, maybe in slightly over half the play. We might have crossed that Rubicon. So, yeah, Lynn, any final thoughts?
Yeah, well, I commented yesterday about how odd it is to begin the play, like right off the bat, with a character in disguise who we, the audience, don't necessarily know is in disguise. He doesn't reveal that till the end of that scene. He throws off his monk's robes and said, ha ha ha, I fooled him. I'm not really a monk, or I'm not really a hermit, or whatever. But sort of in retrospect, that sets the tone, isn't it? It's like that's the gag. That's the gag that we're over and over again as people disguised as other people. And I was also thinking before this week began that the title "Look About You," it put me in mind of a city comedy. It's like, oh, we're going to do some kind of city comedy from 1599, and then it's set in the medieval period. Like, oh, okay, but really, structurally, it kind of is a city comedy. Although city comedies often have a romance plot at the heart, and this doesn't really, unless you count Richard and Lady Falconbridge. So yeah, it's really defying all kinds of expectations. And it's funny and it's odd that it's using this, earlier setting, this sort of semi-legendary, the first generation of Plantagenets setting for this farce. And I am so curious how this went down originally with its original audience. But yeah, it definitely has a lot of potential if you just keep it moving. And then, of course, like as Rob was saying, everyone has to have a very bold character interpretation so that other actors can imitate that. And of course, your costuming is really important. I mean, does everyone basically have a very similar base costume, sort of a neutral color doublet and hose, and then you put stuff on top of that, or what? So something for production to think about the visuals and the acting style to make this work.
I mean, I would think, yeah, and talking about it as farce, I think is really important. That and the thing about keeping a farce alive is that sense of jeopardy and the sense of pace, and that you're constantly being run from one situation to another. So the costume changes have to be super fast as well, and that sense of someone coming on, someone coming off all the time. But there are moments when perhaps it needs to breathe, and the pace doesn't quite go there. It's interesting question actually in practice of how it paces. Alan, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean it's moving at a cracking speed, and quite honestly, I think any actors involved in this would end up at the end of the rehearsal period either very fit or extremely knackered. Because there's a hell of a lot of running around and an awful lot of changing to do meantime. It does seem to work. But what struck me is it is very much a London play, isn't it? I mean, all of the action is within the city and the environs, down to the point earlier on when Redcap was sent off on the errand to, they're down in Gravesend, which I'm sure would have got a laugh from a lot of the Londoners saying, well, yeah, right, he's been sold a right pup there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's got a good sense of its own geography a lot of the time, and that's sort of an interesting bonus that gives us something to play around with. Rachael, any final thoughts?
It's very enjoyable. I've enjoyed this and just kicking back and watching people do these scenes. All these characters I think are so much fun to play for an actor and to go through. Like they're all just a good time. Even though Redcap, I think like the issue with his stutter and his trauma response being mocked in the way that it's being played for a joke. I still think as a character he's very interesting because he is on this serious mission. He's trying to save his dad, and his stutter. People mock him for it in his job, and I think there's something very human about that. Even if the comedy scenes aren't playing it for that, that it's being played for comedy does make me more sympathetic to him in a certain way, because he's the victim of it and not making it necessarily laughable.
Lois, any final thoughts?
Yeah, the context of the play. I mean, there'd already been a number of disguise plays. I think Monday was particularly good at it. We've done John of Kemp and John of Cumber, which involves disguise and the same sort of confusion, two conjurers and one is disguised as the other. And then, and of course, the Robin Hood plays, where there's that great scene where Elinor disguises herself as Maid Marian, but Robin knows that she's disguised as Marian, so he pretends to think that she's Marian and rejects her and says he's really in love with the Queen all the time, and then goes off with Marian, who is disguised as the Queen. And it's the same sort of goofy situation. I mean, nobody knows who wrote this, but Monday would certainly be a possibility, except that it's actually even better than Monday usually is. I mean, it's extremely well constructed and, sort of tied together. No, it's one that I think, like everybody, I have seen it, but I keep longing to see the perfect production. The one in the Red Not Dead thing was extremely good. It's surprising how effective it could be, and with fairly minimal costume changes, but they were enough to convey what was going on.
Mm. Yes, I mean it has to be said. On the whole, we've got a lot of goodness out of the general Robin Hoodness of the repertoire to date. So it seems to bring out the best. And yeah, actually thinking back, Georgia Green had a random disguising as a maid at one point as well. So it seems to bring it out of you.
Yeah, and there's the blind beggar of Alexandria too. Although that was just one character, I think, doing a lot of disguises.
Yeah, that was to show off
Edward Allen.
Allen's part there. Yeah. Which actually I said on the video of that the complete opposite because I wasn't thinking. So I just as a little footnote corrective there. I got that the wrong way around. Go back and watch me be wrong. On that video, it's always enjoyable. Other videos with me being wrong are available. We'll get a playlist together for you 600 soon. Of them. Elizabeth, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just really enjoyed the comments that everyone's made so far. I agree with them all. I was just thinking about, is this a plot-driven play or is this a character-driven play? And I was thinking that it was very much character-driven. And it was interesting what Lois said about the costuming, because I was thinking about what Lynn said about the costuming, and I thought that the costumes made the characters, but that's not necessarily true. Even though there's like lots of disguise and lots of, taking off cloaks and putting cloaks on, I think that the characterization in this is a real challenge for the actors. Like from what we've been talking about, the staging and the blocking, I think this is very much an actor's play, and that all of the success of this play would hinge upon them, rather than the lines or the plot itself of the play as a whole. I think it's very actor driven, very character driven, and I like that. I'm really enjoying it.
And Briony, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm really, really, really enjoying this one. It's got so much charm. The characters are so much fun. I've loved playing John today. What a part! But I've also been kind of thinking, and there's most of them have got something that would be enjoyable about them to play. So I think, it would just be such a joy to actually put on and be involved with. I think it would be so much fun to watch, and none of that heaviness that you usually get with the history. And like I said, it's so engaging. It's just kind of distracted me from the fact it's Robin Hood. It's drowned out any quacking that I may or may not have heard. It's alive, and I'm just really excited to hope that it continues in this vein.
Yes, of course. We have 2 more sessions to go. There's always the possibility that that terrible things will happen. We've been here before at this stage of a play. Going, there's always room for disappointment. And on that note, unless anyone has anything else they want to throw into the ring, Lynn.
Just really quickly, the fact that Elizabeth is meditating on whether this is plot driven or character driven, the fact that that's an open question, I think is an indication that it's working really, really well. The fact that that both those things seem to be equally operational must be a sign that this is really well structured.
Yeah, I mean it's a thing because you put it another way, you know, there's a plot, but there isn't really a story. In that sense, you think, what's the story of the play? Well, there's some beef between some people. I mean, they're really, but it's just full of lots of intricate little ins and outs of how that unravels or gets tangled. So, and that's a really interesting way of sort of putting these things together. Right. Well, until next time then, all that remains is thank all the wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye. Walk like an earl, villain.